The gradual easing of the lockdown has seen a huge leap in human movement in cities across the country. While businesses are gradually picking up, there is the concern that the number of people infected with COVID-19 might increase rapidly as well. What are the steps to tackle this possibility? While the pandemic has kept many indoors, criminal elements and bandits have been improvising on this. Government says there is a strategy in place as well as the political will to face it head-on. Also on Political Update today, dead fishes threaten the health and economy of some coastal communities. We have the scientific and political questions. This is Political Update on the NTA. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. Nigeria has not placed the request for Madagascar's herbal remedy for coronavirus, as it has been reported in some quarters. Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, made a clarification during the daily briefing of the task force in Abuja.
A lot of hue and cry for recognition of local remedies for coronavirus. The PTF chairman says the herbal remedy being expected from Madagascar is a gift and not Nigeria's request.
Nigeria did not ask. The Madagascar government decided to airlift quantities meant for the African countries. That of West Africa was taken to Guinea-Bissau. So all the West African countries, all the members of ECOWAS have their commodities offloaded in Guinea-Bissau. And that was the one I referred to, that we were making arrangement to evacuate. But the impression out there is as if we abandoned homegrown solution and we were looking for Madagascar solution. We didn't ask for it, but it was taken in the spirit of African brotherly love.
Security operatives were directed to stop the harassment of essential service providers.
We therefore use this medium to re-emphasize that farmers fall within the list of exemptions and urge state governors, local government authorities, and security agencies to please allow them to carry out their activities. Our food security is critical to our national security.
Our guidelines and directives are very clear. Essential workers need to be allowed free movement. Harassment by security agencies, we'll raise it again. We have discussed with the security chiefs while we plead with the public to continue to respect our security services that are doing their job. It is also very important that security services treat the general public with the dignity they deserve.
There were tips for curbing community transmission and other sectoral information.
Face masks should become commonplace, and I look forward to seeing cooks and food vendors, for example, wearing masks or risk losing customers.
We need to wipe our surfaces regularly. So if you walk in an office where there's a staircase and everybody touches that staircase as you're going up, you get one of the cleaners. The easiest thing is bleach. Dilute bleach with about half a cup of bleach to 1 gallon of water, and use that to regularly disinfect surfaces where people put their hands on all the time.
We're now allowing a credit scheme over a 5-year period for those who are in polytechnics, colleges of education, who do not have these tablets and laptops, to make an acquisition with alongside those who say they have.
It's my hope that various media houses at whatever level will take the opportunity of the pandemic to ensure that insurance covers are included in the condition of service of their workers.
The Presidential Task Force encouraged Nigerians discharged from COVID-19 isolation and treatment centers to share their experiences, for others to know that COVID-19 is not a death sentence.
President Muhammadu Buhari says his government will do whatever it takes within available resources and the limits of the law to deal decisively and proactively with the security challenges bedeviling the country. The president made a promise at an extraordinary meeting of the National Security Council.
The meeting of the National Security Council was summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss and find solutions to the most critical issues affecting Nigeria's national security. The meeting had in attendance Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Ministers of Justice, Defense, Interior, Police, as well as Foreign Affairs. Others were the Service Chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, Directors General, Department of State Services, and the National Intelligence Agency, Director of Defense Intelligence, and other stakeholders. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Munguno, who coordinated the meeting, presented various memoranda which were considered in respect of the prevailing challenges of security facing the country. These include terrorism and insurgency in the northeast, armed banditry, kidnapping, and other acts of crime and criminality in parts of the country.
You of course know that we are all firmly in the crosshairs of all kinds of criminal elements trying to undermine national security. I stressed to Council that there's a need for collective action, not just by the security agencies, but by all ministries, departments, and agencies of government, as well as civil societies and other non-governmental organizations within Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who noted with concern all the issues raised, described as unacceptable that Nigerians still live in fear. He challenged all those responsible for maintaining peace and national security to remain alive to their responsibilities, as explained by the National Security Advisor.
Mr. President is fully on board, committed to doing whatever is necessary to reduce the spate of violence and insecurity in the country, spending whatever resources he has at his disposal to bring a quick end to all the issues, bringing a lot of sorrows to Nigerians. And he will redouble his efforts in ensuring that the primary responsibility of government, which is to ensure the safety of lives and property, is realized.
The National Security Council was also brought up to speed by the Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, on efforts at controlling and containing the coronavirus pandemic in the country.
He gave a comprehensive brief on the gains made so far, highlighting areas of concern, areas that need urgent attention and possible solutions.
The National Security Council, which meets on quarterly basis, has a constitutional mandate of advising the President on all matters relating to public security.
It seems political activities are gradually returning, especially at the state level. In Rivers, the newly elected state executive members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Ambassador Desmond Akao, have been inaugurated.
Inauguration of the newly elected state executive members of the PDP ushers in a new dawn in the party. Governor Wike commended the former executives for their hard work. He tasked the newly inaugurated executives to work assiduously to move the party forward, while the national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, enjoined the new executives to adopt openness and all-inclusiveness in the administration of the party.
But working together is key. The unity of the party is key for any success you want to achieve. Start immediately to prepare the party ahead of what will be coming in the future years.
Your responsibility is to follow the Constitution. If you follow the Constitution, you will never make mistake. Ours is to support you from the national level so that you can succeed.
Felix Obua, the former PDP chairman, bows out after 8 years of serving the party selflessly with a catalogue of achievements. He promises to continue to work for the success of the party at all times. The newly inaugurated state chairman of the party, Ambassador Desmond Akao, acknowledged that the work is enormous but will ensure that the party remains the toast of all. The newly sworn-in executives of the PDP were elected on the 21st of March during the state party congress.
A bit of legal matters now. The recent affirmation of the election of Ifeanyi Ubah of the Young Progressive Party YPP by the Supreme Court has been put into context by legal practitioner Victor Giwa, who spoke to NTA's Olabode Arewa.
In the Court of Appeal, it was at the Court of Appeal that Ifeanyi Ubah discovered that, first of all, the judgment they were talking about, the materials that led to the judgment, one, were forged. Two, the suit number was forged. Three, the judge was misled to taking a decision. And if you look at the jurisdiction of the High Court, the High Court is such that cases come in when they involve a political party, and the political party, sometimes their head office is in Abuja. And in terms of institution and action, you take an action in the registered office of that political party. So YPP head office is in Abuja. So it is not out of place why some council bring their pre-election matters to Abuja. Ordinarily, the pre-election matter should be handled in the jurisdiction where that particular activities, such as the primaries, took place. So the course of action in the case of pre-election matters concerning Anambra State, of course, would have arose in Anambra State. NECO, not also confirmed, NECO also told me that their document was what was misinterpreted by the other party, talking about if Ifeanyi Ubah did not brought in a fake result. NECO said if you have, I think Ifeanyi Ubah scored an F in one of the courses, and NECO said as a rule, when they're giving you their statement of result, any subject you have an F, they will remove it. That is what it is. So when he provided that statement, people now say, it's forged, because the one they have is that it did not score F. Look at it, has 3 F or so. That this one now, there's no F there, so he might have forged his certificate. So that was where the issue came about.
Now to parts of issues of the economy as agricultural activities pick up and begin stimulating the economy. A worrisome development on the shores of coastal states like Bayelsa and Rivers may threaten fishing and the quality of catches. For some weeks now, dead fishes have been found floating on the coastal waters in these areas, prompting fears of massive oil spill or the likes. Let's recall an NTA report on this development.
Tinima is one of the communities in Bonny, Rivers State, where these dead body of fishes, popularly referred to as broke marriage, are littered.
Nobody is aware of what killed them, but we are suspecting that there might be something of a chemical based on rumor.
NTA News gathered that Oyokoto in Andoni and other communities lying along the Atlantic shorelines are not spared.
These are the fish. A lot have died. People that eating this fish are complaining. It polluted all our water. You can't use the water.
We have been seeing a lot of thousands of fishes dying in our sea. Some pigs the fish to feed from it. Some are getting problems, as in getting some sickness from the fishes. So we need the government to come and assist.
To give insight into this development, we have the Director General National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, Idris Musa joining us today. You saw that report. Have you made any investigations along the coastline, and what are the findings?
Yes, thank you very much, Fisayo. Good afternoon, viewers. We indeed were very surprised, like every other Nigerian, when we first saw the social media circulating massive number of dead fishes along our shoreline, and immediately, because we were so surprised that we had such a thing, we set out in our various zone offices along the coastline, our zone office in Port Harcourt, our zone office in Warri, and our zone office in Yanagua. We sent the officers to go to the field and take samples of water take samples of the dead fishes as well as sediment to enable us find out what could be the cause. But I must say that the dead fishes circulated in the social media were indeed screenshots. So that actually put fears in people. If you look at the one that you captured in your program now, it's not different from what we saw. There were dead fishes quite okay, yes, but not that massive nature that was projected in the social media. And that could be very misinforming, very misleading, and can strike fears in people. So what we did was to take samples of this to the laboratory, got the samples analyzed, and to enable us find out what could be the cause. What we found out from because earlier on we had gone around, there weren't any oil spillages that were massive to have caused the dead fishes as at that time. But then, we did say in our first press release that the fact that we did not see oil does not mean we have to close the matter there. Let's look elsewhere. So we took samples of water, sediment, and the fishes, and then analyzed. What we found in the water was that we have a number of, we have some heavy metals contained in the water samples that were analyzed. And then in the fish tissue analysis too, we also had some traces of these heavy metals, particularly copper and chromium, cadmium and chromium. In the case of the water too, the same thing, but the sediment, fairly low, very low sediment. The sediment samples we took were within the regulatory limits. But those of the fishes too, in some places, some of the trace metals that were found there were within limit, but some were over what were.
Let me come in a bit. Have you shared this information with the local communities? Because of interest to us is the business.
We just got this, and that is one of the reasons why we have this program. Because this will at least give impetus to what our findings are. One, we have, in the course of doing that, we did inform NIMASA, we did inform National Institute of Oceanography and Marine Research and our sister agency, Nestrea, and we said when the samples the results are out, we share it with them. And upon that, we made press release. We made press release, and this has come out in a number of newspapers and online media services. So people have got also feedback from people who have read it in the media as to what the likely causes are. So what we need to do now is, through this medium,
I need to ask, if you eat it, these fishes, are they injurious? Those who are selling them now, is it injurious?
It is not something that it was for a period of time. It is not something that is everyday occurrence. It was just for a period of time. And then as at the time that happened, of course, everybody was informed, do not take this fish because they were found dead already, so there was no need either selling or eating dead fishes. So, but thereafter, if you go now, it is not as if you still see these dead fishes coming every day. No, it is not.
Okay, let's quickly move on that. Since we have you right here in the studio, all efforts and energies are being put to revamping the economy and all that. And you are, you had an agency that looks at issues of oil spill and that. And looking at oil spill, the last time we had a discussion with you, we were talking about the incident in Abuja and that explosion. Talking about oil spill and all that now, in terms of the causative issues, can you tell us a bit about what has been happening in terms of your investigations and what we should be doing to safeguard these pipelines so that, oil still remains a very huge part of our economy and how that can be safeguarded?
Okay, just before we die, let's conclude with these dead fishes. You see, in the case of these dead fishes, like we said, we are now approaching the rainy season. We have certain practices that need to be checked, put in check. One, the rate at which we dump toxic wastes. When I say toxic, the waste that are hazardous, harmful to human and animals through the aquatic species, we must begin to put away such practices. When you see somebody has a disused battery or whatever, you just throw them into bins, from their drainages and so on and so forth. So some of these things, when they are moved from drainage to water bodies, of course, the habitat of those water bodies will certainly suffer. So we need to put a check to that. That is one important message we need to send out there. We must begin to watch our waste management. And then the states, definitely all of the states will have to do this. And of course, all of the loads of waste, hazardous substances will move from the upland from upstream to the downstream, and of course the coastline are the receiving the receiving end. And that is why in most cases we see that a number of the pollutions we have in our seas, coastal areas, are land-based. So we need to put a check to that. That is that. Right. Now going to oil spill, of course, like we have always said, oil spill is not supposed to be an everyday occurrence. Oil spill normally should be what we put in this context. Low probability, but high consequences whenever it happens. In our own case in Nigeria, it is medium to high probability and high consequences. When people go to tamper with oil facilities, albeit pipelines or flow lines, or even go to tank storage areas to steal either petroleum products or crude oil. Of course, you know, once they do that, they leave the facility vulnerable. And then until the owners of the assets get to know or their attentions are drawn to it, then before they go and stop it, all of these are not good for our environment. And by the time you go to stop, of course, the environment is damaged. Yes, you will clean up and remediate, but it will take some time before it can get to where it was, pristine state. So all of these things we must begin to put a check. That was what happened in Abuja the other time, and then even Abuja Batu not long ago, and then the case we had at Comcom the other time. You know, all of these things, when they do it, it affects the environment, and it also affects livelihood, and sometimes we lose lives.
So quickly, an update on Abule Ado. What are you doing particularly before we go in terms of getting that place back into what you said? What we are doing is liaising with the owners of the assets, that is the NPSC, for the thorough cleanup of the area. Not only just clean up, you clean up and remediate, but more importantly, putting a watch on those assets, because the best thing is to prevent rather than looking for curative processes. When you prevent, you find less. Then we get to low probability when we're able to prevent, because what we have now is idea of saying the people within an area are giving a contract to do surveillance on them. We have gone past that one. This is 21st century. We can do that as a PR to people to enable them to earn some kind of livelihood. We must go technological. In terms of monitoring. Oh yes, in terms of monitoring, so that whoever gets there will get such people arrested on time. All right, leaving it to certain people to do. Time is not our friend on Political Update. Of course, this conversation will continue. Oil still continues to be a key part of the economy. I want to thank the Director General of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, Engineer Idris Musa, for joining us on Political Update today. That has been the program Political Update for today. Please remember, washing of hands, wearing of face masks, and maintaining social distancing is not political talk. It is a clarion call for collective survival. Fisa Ogunfi is my name. Let's do this again, God willing, on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.